We'll next look at a cross-sectional view of a spinal cord. So if you cut it this way and turn it this way, you'll see what's called a cross-section. So in here we'll have, so here's the spinal cord cut across. And so here, this is this outer structure. Internally, you'll find a gray matter area like this, where you have these horns on there, horns, okay, on the spinal cord, and in the middle of it is your central canal. So let's label this cross section as is. This is your central canal. That's the same thing that continues from the fourth ventricle in the brain, central canal, runs down to the middle of the spinal cord. You have these. This outer part is white matter, this inner part is gray matter. So the inner gray matter is divided into horns. So let's label these horns. This horn here is called the dorsal horn or posterior horn. This horn is the lateral horn. This horn is the ventral horn. So you have three horns on both sides of the spinal cord. Sometimes the lateral horn is not there depending on where you are along the spinal cord. The crossing point between the right and left half, this part here is called your gray commissure. The bridge across the right and left side. These demarcations here are real. So this top groove that runs along the spinal cord along the back side, that demarcation line is called your posterior median sulcus or dorsal median sulcus. The one on the front is a bit deeper, so it's referred to as your ventral median fissure. Okay. You can also divide up the white matter into pieces. So these columns, you look at a column here, these columns are called funiculus. So this column over here is called your lateral funiculus. This would be your dorsal funiculus, and over here, this one here would be your ventral or anterior funiculus. Okay, let's now add some nerves to the spinal cord. Okay, so I'm going to redraw this and then add some pieces to it. Okay, just a moment. I'll be stuck with that on thing. Let's go erase. Try again. So we're going to make your the same with your horns here. So now the spinal cord itself, had roots to it. So up here, we have what's called the dorsal root, and down here is your ventral root. So dorsal root, ventral root of the spinal nerve, and then when they meet together here, when both the dorsal and ventral roots meet, they form what's called your spinal nerve at that point. On both sides, you have again when they meet together, dorsal root, ventral root, and in these roots travel different types of neurons. So your dorsal horn is the area that receives sensory neurons. So sensory neurons, these are typically your unipolar neurons, come there and they come here and terminate there, okay? While your ventral root will carry out motor neurons, efferent neurons, leave from here and travel out here to go out to your muscles. So basically, the dorsal root is called controls sensory neurons. The ventral root contains motor neurons. All right, and the lateral horn contains neurons that control your internal organs, what we call your autonomic nervous system neurons. They travel through the lateral horns. Now, the nerve, spinal nerve, as it moves away from the spinal cord, before we get there, your spinal nerves, because they carry both sensory and motor neurons, are usually called mixed nerves. This is a mixed nerve. Mixed nerve because it's carrying both sensory and motor neurons. Now, the spinal nerve will split very, very quickly. As soon as it goes out a little more laterally, it will divide up into what's called rami. So right away, it branches like that into what's called posterior ramus, and then like this, and then like that. Okay. So there are 3 rami after you pass the spinal nerve. This one is called your posterior ramus. Carries axons usually to your skin. These 2 here are called the rami communicantes. And in particular, we can call these 2 rami different things. So this one here we'll call the white rami communicantes. This one is called the gray rami communicantes. And this circle here represents where neurons cluster. So that's called your ganglion. This system here is only used by the autonomic nervous system, not by your skeletal muscles. Just the internal organs use these branches. And then this right here, this ramus here is your anterior ramus. So I want you guys to know the 3 rami that branch from the spinal nerve: posterior ramus, the rami communicantes, and the anterior ramus. Okay. Of course, so these neurons will still travel through here. Normally they travel through that part there. These neurons travel through here as well. Meanwhile, these neurons, the neurons that use the rami communicantes, those are your ANS neurons. They usually begin their journey from here in the lateral horn and come down, travel through the ventral root, enter the rami communicantes and stop right here. And then a second neuron, they come from here and then travel up and then re-enter the spinal nerve. That's how the ANS uses this part right here. Okay, it's a bit complicated. Read the PowerPoint and see if you get it. If not, just email me or Zoom me, and I try to expand further on what's going on here in the rami communicantes. Okay, let me see if I have more to talk about here. Okay, all right. So next we're going to talk about various spinal nerves. So as these nerves exit, and by the way, this happens also on this side. As the nerves exit out here, they branch again into smaller bundles. And we give them names based on what they do. So we're going to discuss about 13 spinal nerves. I want you to know what muscles they control in terms of, muscles at the NMJ require neurons. So those neurons are carried there by nerves. So if I said to you, your femoral nerve controls your quad muscles, it means that nerve bundle delivers axons to all of the NMJs in that muscle to activate that muscle. Okay, let's talk about it. Oh, come on, this damn thing. All day with that thing every day. All right. Let's try this side. Okay. So we're going to briefly discuss then around 13 spinal nerves. So let's begin with spinal nerve called the phrenic nerve. This phrenic nerve is the nerve that controls your diaphragm. So for breathing, you need this nerve to control the muscle of the diaphragm to go up and down. Okay. Another nerve. Nerve number 2 we're going to talk about is your musculocutaneous nerve. And this nerve controls the anterior arm muscles here. So your biceps brachii, your brachialis, your coracobrachialis muscles are controlled by this nerve. So the anterior arm muscles. Example, biceps brachii, brachialis, coracobrachialis muscles. Okay. Your third nerve we'll talk about is your median nerve. The median nerve controls your forearm. Okay, this one controls your anterior forearm muscles. Muscles like your flexor carpi radialis muscles, your flexor digitorum superficialis muscles, your palmaris longus muscles. Those muscles right here are most controlled by your median nerve. Nerve 4, well, not nerve 4, but the fourth one we'll talk about is your ulnar nerve. This ulnar nerve goes to your hand muscles, things like your abductor pollicis brevis, for example. So your hand muscles are controlled by the ulnar nerve. Then we're going to do your axillary nerve. Around here is axillary nerve, controls your deltoid muscle. Sorry, I'm going to name the nerve first. Your axillary nerve controls your deltoid muscle and your teres major and teres minor muscles, controlled by the axillary nerve. And then we can do, while we're up here, you have muscles called your subscapular nerve. This nerve will control your subscapularis muscle of the rotator cuff group. While we're here still, the nerve called your suprascapular nerve. That nerve controls the other remaining rotator cuff muscles. Muscles like your supraspinatus and infraspinatus muscles. Those two muscles are controlled by your suprascapular nerve. Let's keep going. Okay. We can look at, say, what do we have here? Your radial nerve. The radial nerve here controls the back of the upper limb. So all right here, your triceps and coneus and your extensors. So back of upper limb, okay? Again, things like your triceps brachii and coneus and your wrist extensors, your extensor carpi radialis, extensor digitorum, extensor digiti minimi are controlled by the radial nerve. Another nerve we want you to know about is the obturator nerve. The obturator nerve, let's skip something here. Sorry, let's do it. Okay, this one passes to your obturator foramen of the os coxa. It controls your groin muscles. So your adductor magnus, adductor brevis, adductor longus, gracilis are controlled by this obturator nerve. And 10, your femoral nerve goes to your quadricep femoris muscle. The quads control by the femoral nerve as well as your sartorius muscle and iliacus muscles, also controlled by the femoral nerve. And let's see, let's do your superior gluteal nerve. Okay. the superior gluteal nerve controls your gluteus medius and gluteus minimus, while your inferior gluteal nerve controls your gluteus maximus. Then we have, I'm almost there. Then we have 13, your pudendal nerve. This nerve controls the muscles for urination and defecation. It controls your external urethral sphincter and your external anal sphincter muscles. Muscles for urination and for defecation. And then keep going to, we got your, let's do your sciatic nerve. So your sciatic nerve, okay, this is a two-part nerve. This is the longest nerve in the body, the one that passes through the greater sciatic notch. Okay, it has two parts. There's a part called the tibial nerve. That tibial nerve controls the entire back of the lower limb. So controls the hamstring muscles back there, controls your gastrocnemius, your soleus, your tib posterior. All these muscles back here controlled by the tibial nerve off the sciatic nerve, and then another branch of this nerve is called your fibular nerve. Okay, that nerve controls your anterior leg muscles. So things like your tib anterior there, your extensor digitorum longus muscles for the toes, as well as your fibularis muscles, fibularis longus and brevis muscles. Okay, controlled by the fibular nerve. Okay, we'll pause there.